be but aren't.
Definitely. They can't stand it that he, especially as an African-American man, as a black man, that he is this family man. He is this person who has spoken for the weak and the vulnerable, the way Jesus talked about doing, the way these Christians, these people who call themselves Christians, are supposed to be doing but are not. So Ted Cruz is angry. He's so angry that President Obama would say something that would call him to be moral because he can't live up to it, and because clearly the contrast is right there for anyone who wants to see it. That, what is Ted Cruz doing? He's running around pointing the finger at President Obama for things that are happening at Republican rallies.
And as we've discussed before, they're probably, well, I don't know, that's a tough... I was making the decision in my own mind. There's probably not a candidate with worse campaign ethics than Ted Cruz.
Right.
He is the most unethical of the Republican candidates. And I mean, I was trying to decide in my head as I was entering that phrase whether it's him or Trump.
Well, we don't know about Trump's campaign ethics. We know how he's conducting his campaign, but we already know about Ted Cruz's campaign ethics from his previous campaigns. We know that he isn't...
Cruz has no ethics. So,
right.
So for a hypocrite like Ted Cruz to say that President Obama is moralizing...
Right. Well, to be angry about that, yeah. What if he is moralizing? Sorry you can't get on board, Ted Cruz. Why don't you try living your life by some moral standards and getting some integrity? I mean, Ted Cruz is just as extreme as Donald Trump. He's just couches things in a slightly more palatable exterior, and that's only because he's actually in the Senate, and he went to, he's a constitutional lawyer. He's went to, is it Yale he went to?
He's Ivy League. Yeah.
Ivy League, I can't remember which one, but anyway, Harvard or Yale, I believe. So he has that exterior that's easier. It's easier for him to get away with this stuff. But when you look at the way that he gets support, it's the same kind of people. We'll just see if he can knock Donald Trump away and get his supporters. It doesn't look like it right now, but we'll see.
You're right. It's the Trump mechanism. They're both fishing in the same pool to a large degree.
And that's why Ted Cruz is so, I suspect that he is pretty shocked to be losing what he thought was going to be his for sure to this reality TV star.
Yeah. He has managed to fight tooth and nail with Trump because they're fighting for the same turf. That's what a lot of these pundits and analysts don't realize. Why Marco Rubio couldn't break through was because that's not where the electorate is. It's not on the same turf.
Right.
The electorate is on Trump and Cruz's turf.
And where is that turf? That's far, far right. It's extremist. It is not equal to what's happening on the Democratic side at all. That's that false conflation that I can't stand. In fact, I really do believe that if this continues this way and Donald Trump is their nominee, we're going to be seeing a big shift to Democrats. Democrats have been the responsible party. They have been the party who holds their people to some kind of accountability. I mean, when somebody does something wrong in the Democratic Party, they eventually get kicked out. They get shunned by Democrats. You don't see Republicans doing that. Republicans will sit there and tell people, God gave me, so you don't get to hold me accountable. At some point, and that was many years ago they started doing that, but now all of that's coming home to roost.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was thinking about, exactly what you're discussing. It was number one, Mark Sanford.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, David Vitter, Mark Sanford. But number two, you and I have been talking about this for a long time, on and off the air, that everybody in the mainstream political press is surprised by the rise of Trump, but we aren't, because this is the logical next point for the path they've been on since 2008. This isn't a surprise.
No,
it's not, and sadly, it's not a surprise that they would blame President Obama for the violence at Trump's rallies, the violence that Trump is causing. It's not surprising they would blame Bernie Sanders.
No, they're children. I mean, that's how they conduct themselves now. There's no point in even trying to have a dialogue with people who are that immature and refuse to take responsibility for themselves.
And just so Hillary Clinton doesn't feel left out, they will certainly, if she becomes a Democratic nominee and this nonsense continues, this hateful nonsense continues, they will certainly blame her.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming.
Everybody gets a shot at being responsible for Republicans' actions.
There
isn't a Democrat that will be left out. They'll blame Al Franken. It'll go down the list. There's no one. Elizabeth Warren, how dare you hold Ted Cruz's filibuster? We'll just start blaming Democrats for everything that Republicans are doing.
The party of no personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Will leave no Democrat behind.
Well, how could they be? They're the party of no personal responsibility. They used to be the party of law and order. Now, given what they're doing with refusing to confirm any of Obama's, and it's even getting worse. They're refusing to confirm even more. Not just this. I mean, they always have been, but now they've added more people to their list. They're not the party of law and order anymore. They're the party of disorder, and certainly spitting on the Constitution.
They're the party of hate, bigotry, physical assault, and violence.
Well, yeah, that's a really good campaign slogan for them.
They built that.
They did. They built that. Well, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon to discuss this. I know this is going to continue going on, and it's time for the media to be held accountable, and I hope that the people who are listening and the people who read us at some point can be a part of helping to hold the media accountable. If the media isn't held accountable, then the Republicans aren't held accountable. And this stuff is, people's lives are at stake. I don't think this is, I'm overstating that case. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and I hope you tune in tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.